Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Let's Talk About It Tuesday, and I am happy that you are here with us this evening or whenever you are watching this replay. I hope that you have had a phenomenal, a dynamic, a wonderful, productive Tuesday. I hope that this day has already been filled with hope and filled with joy and filled with peace and with comfort. I hope that this day, it has not ended. It's only 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if your day has not already yet been filled with happiness and peace and joy, there is still time left in this 24-hour day for you to receive all of that, for you to receive your joy, your peace, your comfort, your peace of mind. All of that can be yours. There's still time left in this particular day, a day we've never seen before and a day we'll never see again. So capitalize on all that it has for you. It was loaded this morning at 12 midnight when this new day began. It was loaded with benefits just for you. And we don't take it for granted. So whatever you didn't grab hold of or what didn't have or felt that you didn't have access to before this time, today or whenever you're watching this broadcast, whatever you feel like you didn't access during the course of your day, and know that it is still time. This day is not over. Grab what you need, whether that means getting off to yourself or being with friends, grabbing a book, reading your word, getting into some worship music, getting around those who are positive, those that can uplift you, those who can be a blessing to you, whatever that looks like, to get you to the point of where you need to be for this day, this day that you've been granted your 24 hours to get your peace, your joy, your peace of mind, your happiness, to get that thought out, to get that project done, to get that book finished, to get that journal entry finished, to get whatever it is that you need to get done in this 24 hours of time that you've been granted with today. No matter when you're watching this, if you are watching this, it means that you are still alive, and that means that your 24 hours is still in effect. And the 24 hours that you've been given are still in effect and still mean something, and you have the opportunity to make those 24 hours count. Okay? Okay. So, tonight, like we do every week, it is Let's Talk About It Tuesday. Let's Talk About It Tuesday. And tonight we're going to be talking about our families. We're going to be talking about our families. We're going to be talking about mental illness and how it affects the family. So many times we overlook how important it is to understand that we're all in this together. If there is a need that a family member is facing, it's not just one person who's going through it. The person who's experiencing it is going through it. The family member is going through it as well. So we're going to discuss the effects on the family, and not just family, on relationships, close relationships in general, as pertains to mental health or mental illness, to be specific. Because if truth be told, there is a difference between mental health and mental illness. Mental health deals with everyone's state of being. Everyone has, if you have a brain, if you have a mind, you have mental health. Depends on, it's just the mental illness part is the degree to which there is an issue. Just like the fact that we're all alive means we all have health. It's just the degree of your health whether determines whether you need medical attention and so forth. So there is a difference between mental illness and mental health. But tonight we're going to be talking about the effects of mental illness on the family. If in fact you're part of this group, Mental Health and Ministry, so you probably are familiar in some capacity, whether directly or indirectly, with a family member or a close friend who has dealt with or is dealing with a mental illness. or you have seen the effects. You may not, like, again, maybe indirectly. So I came across an article that I found to be very interesting. I'm going to share with you guys, dealing with mental illness in the family, because we don't want to negate the importance of the family while they're dealing with, or while they're supporting, or while they're trying to understand, or while they're aiding their loved one. We don't want to negate their role and how it affects the family. And if I may, let me take it to the farthest extreme, or the worst scenario, and then bring it back. And I'm going to read this article. The hardest, the most treacherous, devastating, hard to deal with, overwhelmingly sorrowful and sorrow-filled and painful effect mental illness puts on a family member is when they take their own life, because they have now transferred pain, maybe not their pain, they have now transferred pain, hurt, disappointment, confusion onto their entire family. And there's no coming back. You can come back from having an episode. You can come back from having depression. You can come back from setbacks. You can come back from issues and maladies and life just throwing you all kinds of curveballs. You can come back from that. But when you make a permanent decision to take your life, you make a permanent decision to potentially go to an eternity of way worse. That there is no suicide after that. You can't escape that hurt. You can't escape that torment. You can't escape that. If in fact, because once you leave here, we don't know where you're going. You don't know. The person who commits suicide. But the family is left here with the awesome, and I don't mean awesome in a good way, with the horrible burden of why, and the loss, and the grief, and the misunderstanding, and the confusion. That's a heavy weight. That's a heavy weight. So as I said, I came across this article, and it was in a mental health. It was in a mental health periodical that I found, and it's about mental health and family. So let me read just a little bit. It says there was a survey. It says the survey, which was anonymous, has been launched on World Mental Health Day, showed that more than 80% of patients agreed that their mental health conditions had a detrimental effect on their family. Mental illness can be an extremely painful and traumatic time for all of the family, and have huge impact on a family's financial and emotional components. When it comes to the mental illness, the emotional and behavioral consequences for family members go largely ignored. Let me read that again. When it comes to the mental illness, the emotional and behavioral consequences for family members go largely ignored. It is clear the individual's mental health problems have consequences for others within their social networks, most notably their family. It says here, looking after a family member with a mental illness can be an extremely stressful time, and coping with the stress may rouse various reactions such as somatic problems. I think I'm misreading this. Let me go back a little bit. Let me move this over a little bit. Here we go. Let's see here. Let me read that again because I think I misread something. Looking after a family member with a mental illness can be an extremely stressful time, and coping with the illness may rouse various reactions such as somatic problems, migraines, loss of appetite, fatigue, insomnia, cognitive and emotional problems, anxiety, depression, guilt, fear, anger, confusion, and behavioral troubles, changes in attitude, and social withdrawal. That's a lot. That's a lot. We're talking about the family, in essence, in many cases, the caregivers. If the family member is living with them or close to them, then you're seeing the effects, especially when the person that is dealing with a mental illness does not want to seek help or doesn't want to accept help, does not want to do the necessary steps to get to the road to recovery. And so the family is yet dealing with that. That is a hard pill to swallow. When you know that there is a need, you are the family members, the loved ones, and you see your loved ones suffering. You see them in need of help, and you offer it. You try to make it available to them, and they don't accept it. They don't take it. That is a challenge in and of itself, which brings with it these things that are listed here. Migraines, loss of appetite, fatigue. When you're trying your best as a family member to help and be there, be a support, cognitive and emotional problems, anxiety, depression, guilt, fear, anger, confusion, and behavioral troubles. These are symptomatic of people who are the family member, right? Who want to help, whether it is diagnosed or undiagnosed, being treated or not being treated. Hopefully and prayerfully, the family member with a mental illness is being treated and sticking to the road to recovery. And in that road to recovery, we understand that sometimes there are challenges along the way. It is a road, just like with any road. There are speed bumps, there are potholes, there are twists, and there are curves. And we understand that. But and as long as you're trying to get to your destination as a person on the road to recovery, but it is a hard challenge for the family when you have family members who you love and care for, and they choose not to, or they don't heed your or want to accept your help in trying to help them. And that leads to some of these other symptoms. Now, this survey, there was a study that was done in Sweden. Now, keep in mind, Sweden obviously is not here, not the United States, but it's interesting to note what they found in their survey. It says, according to a Swedish study, 1/2 of family members claimed that they had developed psychological or social problems such as sleeping problems and depression of their own to such an extent that they also needed help and support. What do you know about that? And that's in Sweden. So imagine in the United States, if that's in Sweden, which is a much smaller country than the United States, if it says here where I read 1/2 of family members claim that they developed psychological or social problems, listen. You can only imagine what it's like here in the United States. It says, however, while the influence of poor mental health on families is largely misunderstood, the consequences are extremely apparent to those actually suffering from mental illness. Take heed. Those surveyed by the Priory Group reported that their emotions and behavior put extra stress on their family, with one patient reporting that, quote, my addiction affected everyone close to me. Another mentioned that, quote, that they, quote, isolated their family. And some even reported being physically violent towards members of their own family. Nearly all mentioned that their loved ones became upset and worried about them. I'm reading this, I'm not blaming or shaming a person with a mental health illness. Please know that. Please know that I'm not blaming or shaming anyone with a mental illness. Not in the least. Not in the least. But I wanted to come on here and share the importance of understanding that the family is in it too. The family is in this thing too. And if you are a family member who has a loved one with a mental illness, be patient and understand that it is a road. And if in fact they are seeking and getting help, that the road to recovery is one that is well worth it, and that they can do it. They can do it. And if they are an individual, your family member is an individual who has a mental illness yet does not accept or has not gone for treatment or counseling or therapy or any of that, continue to be a support. Pray for them, because this is a heavy burden, a heavy weight is a better term I'd rather use. So on tonight I wanted to kind of talk about the family, the importance of the family, how mental illness affects the family, and to know that there are resources available for those who have not sought out help and assistance and guidance and hope. There is help. There are psychologists and psychiatrists and mental health professionals that are willing and able to help and aid you. So listen, that's my Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. I also invite you to check out, I'm going to be doing a video in a little bit, completely different from the Pain in the Pews, but I invite you, if you follow me on social media, Chelsea Payne, you'll see that in just a little bit, especially if you have a business or a product or a book or anything that you want to build and brand. You definitely don't want to miss that. Don't forget, coming up September 21st and 22nd is our annual Pain in the Pews Mental Health and Ministry Conference. It is going to be great. Our guest speaker on Friday night is Bishop R. Christopher Brown III, coming from Bennettsville, South Carolina. I promise you don't want to miss it. And then that Saturday, we have vendor opportunities for you that are interested, and we will have guest speakers and a panel discussion, and then we thrown in something extra just for pastors, so you don't want to miss this awesome event, September 21st and 22nd. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll see you next week.